If the sun vanished right now, you wouldn't notice for 8 minutes and 20 seconds. The sky would stay blue. Birds would keep singing. And then, all at once, the light would simply switch off, and the Earth would stop turning in a circle and start flying in a straight line out into the dark forever. Here's exactly what happens next. The reason for the delay is simple. Light is an instant. Sunlight takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to cross the 93 million miles to Earth. So the sunshine on your face right now actually left the sun 8 minutes ago. But here's the part most people get wrong. Gravity isn't instant either. It travels at exactly the same speed as light. So for those same 8 minutes, Earth would keep curving around a sun that no longer exists, held in orbit by gravity that is still on its way. For 8 minutes and 20 seconds, absolutely nothing would seem wrong. Then the last light arrives and passes. In an instant, the sky goes completely black. Not sunset black, total starlit black, in the middle of what should be the afternoon. The moon vanishes too, because moonlight is only reflected sunlight. And at that exact same moment, Earth's leash is cut. Our planet is currently whipping around the sun at about 30 kilometers every second, held on a curve by gravity. Remove the gravity, and that curve becomes a straight line, like a stone released from a sling. Earth doesn't fall or slow down. It simply carries on in one direction, out of the solar system and into interstellar space. The cold is not what kills first. It collapses. Within days, photosynthesis stops almost everywhere on Earth. Plants are the base of nearly every food chain on the planet, and without light, they begin to die. Smaller plants go quickly. Big trees can survive for longer on stored sugars, but everything that eats plants is already in trouble, and everything that eats those animals is right behind. Meanwhile, the surface temperature falls fast, but not instantly, because the atmosphere and oceans hold an enormous amount of heat. That heat buys us a little time. Not much. Now the temperature. Estimates vary, but the picture is consistent. Within about a week, the average surface temperature would be far below freezing, cold enough that stepping outside anywhere on Earth would be lethal within minutes. Within a year, we'd be somewhere around minus 70 degrees Celsius or worse. And it keeps falling. Eventually, the planet reaches a kind of equilibrium, around minus 240 degrees, the point where the heat still leaking out of Earth's molten core balances the heat radiating away into space. At that temperature, the air itself begins to condense and fall as snow. Here's something surprising. You might imagine the oceans freezing solid, but they wouldn't, at least not for an unimaginably long time. Water holds heat extremely well, and ice floats. So the surface of the sea would freeze into a thick crust, and that crust would then act as insulation, trapping the warmth underneath. Below the ice, liquid water would remain for hundreds of thousands of years. So the planet wouldn't become a solid ball of ice. It would become something stranger, a frozen shell wrapped around a dark, cold, but still liquid ocean. Which raises the most interesting question of all. Would anything live through it? Almost certainly yes. At the bottom of our oceans, there are hydrothermal vents, cracks in the seafloor where heat and chemicals pour out from inside the planet. Entire ecosystems live down there right now, and not one of them depends on sunlight. They're powered by chemistry from the Earth itself. Take away the sun, and those communities barely notice. Tube worms, bacteria, strange pale creatures in permanent darkness. They would carry on, in a black ocean under a shell of ice, on a planet drifting between the stars. Life on Earth wouldn't end. It would just get very small, very deep, and very patient. So if the sun disappeared, 8 minutes of blissful ignorance, then darkness, then a straight line out into nothing. Plants die within days, the surface freezes within weeks, and the air eventually falls as snow. But deep under the ice, in the dark, life quietly keeps going, because it never needed the sun in the first place. It's a strange thing to sit with. The sun feels like the center of everything, and for us it is. But the oldest, most stubborn life on this planet would barely look up. If that gave you something to think about, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.